bam, we're going for the steamroller look on this one. I'm talking about the big meat Larry Hoover's 305s looking tiny next to these guys. 315s on an S10 Blazer. Will it fit? We're gonna find out. All right, guys, we're back. Another beautiful day in the shop. Beautiful weather outside, but I want to be in here working on this. You see, we got the S10 Blazer on the lift for the first time, really seeing it up in the air. To be honest with you, I got a little discouraged. If you watch our previous episodes, we'll link it here somewhere. We attempted to do a run and drive on this thing, and it ended up having a blown motor. I'll give you a little better up close to that, but after finding out it was locked up, we also noticed there was dents on the oil pan from the inside out. And I just happened to look right there. If you can see, maybe the people on YouTube land can see the problem, right there. So see the hole in the oil pan coming from the inside out? That might be the reason it won't turn over. See it right there better, yeah. So this isn't looking real promising for today. That's how it goes, but it was cheap, it's fine. Got another motor on the way, should be here anytime soon. Until then, I have to do something to keep my motivation up, so I'm gonna lower it. That's gonna be today's video, today's task. It's gonna drop this thing. The purpose of this vehicle, it's gonna be a shop truck. We're gonna, in theory, I'm gonna take this thing to the tire store and throw a bunch of tires in the back, take it to the paint store and pick up stuff, take it to the trash, take my waste oil off with it, something I can bebop around town. The 4.3 won't be terrible on fuel. It'll look neat. It won't be super valuable, so it won't be expensive to insure. I won't have to worry about it sitting at Walmart parking lot or wherever. You know, I get a little tipsy at Longhorns, I leave it there for the night. It's not a big deal. It's not like it's a high dollar K5 Blazer. I don't know who would build one of those. So I got to do something to make it look cool, though. I want something to represent me and my business, and what's better than lowering them down. So what we're going to use today, this is a kit from DJM. This is their 3-4 lowering kit, and it consists of these control arms, tubular johnnies here. You can see the way they're made. The concept here, the design, is they lower the spring pocket so that it raises the ball joint height and essentially lowers the vehicle. 3 inches in the front is what they're calling it. We're going to try it out, see how it works, see what it looks like with the wheel and tire package, see if it's got, you know, the kind of vibe I'm looking for. If not, we're going to give the springs a little haircut, but we'll have to see. Some things I like and don't like about these so far, just upon looking at them. Tubular's cool, doesn't matter. People flip out of it, oh, it's got tubular control arms. This isn't a race car, it doesn't matter. Stamp steel has worked forever, but it's a selling point. Tubular steel's kind of neat, I guess. Selling point if I ever decide to get rid of this thing. You know, it's got what looks like some pretty nice ball joints in it, I guess. It's got some poly bump stops. I'm not a huge fan of poly here. I'm not a huge fan of poly here. If you've ever had poly, their tendency to squeak. Now they are drilled and tapped for grease fittings, and it comes here in the instruction and sticker pack. Some grease fittings here. I'm gonna use a little tip. I've never done this before. Our buddy across the way at Chaparro's Chop Shop, what he does is he pulls these things apart, cleans all their factory grease off of it, and coats it with gold anti-seize, and he swears that it will not squeak or rattle or do anything funky. So we're gonna give that a try today. So that'll be the front stuff. And for the rear, leaf spring. Super simple. We're gonna do the Big Daddy blocks. As you can see, these are serious. These are 4-inch lowering blocks. On the S10s, the rear end is already above the leaf, so you don't have to flip it. You just raise it up. You can see these do have a taper in it. That's for pinion correction already built into it, which is neat. thing I like about the DJMs, you don't have, it's built into it. You don't have to run the separate pinion thing. It's one more thing to come loose. I don't like it. The U-bolt, obviously. Hardware, obviously. Like I said, sticker pack. I got some shocks coming from the local parts house. They're going to be here, but you've seen shocks. I'm going to get to tearing into this thing. But, oh, wait. Don't forget the coolest part is the wheels and tires. So, decided to go with a set of Corvette wheels. I just love them. I love that OE optional look. Like this may have been a special edition thing that could have had another GM wheel on it. I don't know. It's always turned me on. Picked these up from a buddy of mine, Cody Puckett, works down at a Corvette dealership in Atlanta. Had some laying around, picked these up. Pretty sweet. They got a pretty good finish. They're not perfect. They got a little rash around on them, one or two places, but this is a driver, so who cares? I got the center cap over next door. And here we got these outfitted with a NITTO 275 4017. Pretty good looking tread pattern. Kind of nasty from rolling around my shop, but get the idea. 275, right? That's a hell of a tire. That is a big tire for the back, right? This is the front tire. Here are the rears. I forgot to tell you, these are actually ZR1 Corvette wheels. The one we just looked at, 17 by 9. This guy right here, 17 by 11. Notice the dish difference? And the 315 35 17. Bam! We're going for the steamroller look on this one. I'm talking about the big meat Larry Hoover's 305s looking tiny next to these guys. 315s on an S10 Blazer. Will it fit? We're gonna find out. It's gonna look like a Pro Street thing, and it's not gonna sound like it or run like it because it's gonna have a 4.3 in it, but it's gonna have a really cool look. It'll hunker down. I'm going for, usually I like to tuck tire, tuck wheel. Not on this thing. I'm looking for probably a 2, maybe 3-inch wheel gap. Maybe, I want to see how it looks. Like I said, I'm gonna use this thing. So I don't want to tuck tire, throw a motor in the back of it, and now I'm sitting on the wheel wells. That's just silly, and I'm not gonna put helper bags, I don't think, on this, so yeah. 17 by 11 ZR1 wheels. Stick around and see if we can get them to fit. All right, so show you what we got done so far here. Got it up in the air. Don't mind these. We'll talk about these in a little while. These are mock-up things, so. On to the next, let's see, went ahead and hit all of our points. So all of our U-bolt nuts, shock bolts and nuts, hit everything with a little looby-dooby. Let that soak while we're working up here. Okay, now let me show you. I didn't get this on film, but it's real straightforward. Right here is where this used to live. So this is a bump stop bracket. Went ahead and test fitted the rears. And you know, that kind of explains the spacer here. And we knew it was going to hit this, and you can see how far off the frame that sat. So just wasn't going to work with those jumbo unirolls on the back. So that had to go. Under this was the bump stop. So just took. I can never ever get these things out without ruining them. So I just go ahead and just cut that with a Sawzall. Cut around the bump stop with the slice and dice. And take it to Flaptown on the flap wheel and just clean all that up. So next thing we're gonna do, start getting all of our bolts loose. Shocks should be, double check, I think a 12 and then a 19 nut. These are 19s, and I could be wrong, but I think that's all we have to take loose. Get all those loose off and put the blocks in the back.
All right, so we moved around to the passenger side. Somewhere in that time lapse, the battery died. That's just what GoPros do. So got that side cut off. Got the blocks installed. Now, do note those are tapered blocks like we talked about. The skinnier end goes towards the front. So make sure you note that. New U-bolts, obviously. So a couple things to note here is make sure the bolts are lined up this way. Sometimes when you're putting them together, the bolt can kick off to the side like that, and you'll tighten it down and you'll think it's really tight until you drive it and you hear a clunk, because that has shifted back to center and now it's loose. So make sure those are straight up and down when you tighten it. Obviously 4 bolts, 1 U on this side, 1 U on the other. I still little here, little there, little here, little there. Kind of work my way around because I like them to be even, obviously, because that's going to give you the best torque down on it. And when you get done, I'm not going to cut anything until I'm happy, but I'll come in here and nub those off, just less you can see hanging down. It's kind of a little pet peeve of mine. So yeah, those are all done. Everything down the back. I got a wheel sitting up on here, and let's see if we can see here. All right, so this is just setting up here, so I'm gonna square it up. All right, you can't really see that well because it's dark, and my production engineer isn't here today to help me with my lighting, so I'm attempting what I can do here. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Check that out. There's about 3/16 between the tire and the leaf spring, and there's probably a 1/4 inch between the tire and the rail. This is with a 1.5 inch spacer. You can see it just sits. It looks like it sticks way out from the ground, from down here, but when it's on the ground, it's not that bad. So you can see kind of better. It's like pretty much flush with the fender well. I mean, those look sweet under there. Holy crap. So yeah, got to get some more spacers to sit down on the ground. And now it's time to move on to the front. All right, so now we're around to the front. Got to ditch these control arms for the 3-inch pocketed ones to give us more low. So first things first, let's get rid of the shock. Actually already done that. And here it is. So it's going to have 2 13s from the bottom. It comes up through the spring pocket. On top, 14mm nut. This has 2 flats on it at the end so that you can hold the shaft from spinning. That's 1/4 inch with the 2 flats. It pretty much never, ever, ever comes off. So it becomes vice grip size. So vice grips at the top, spin that off. These go in the trash anyway. Step 1 done. Step 2, cotter pins. Cotter pin here, cotter pin on the lower ball joint guy in there. So those got to come out. This is a 19. I believe that's a 21. We'll get to that one in a second. These are both taper fit shanks here. So what you do is take the cotter pin out, get your 19 or whatever size it is, take it loose and screw it up just a little bit. And then you're going to take your BFH, your biggest Ford hammer, and you're going to smack this until it pops loose. Same thing here. Never take this lower one all the way off because it has all this spring pressure tension on it, and it'll shoot out, shoot off, and who knows, you may never be able to have kids again. That's not good. We don't want that. So let's just take those loose a little bit. Then we'll get a jack under here. You can do this on a lift. I've done it on a lift. I like doing it off the floor with the floor jack. I feel like it's a little more controllable, and the truck isn't teetering on the lift as much. So we're going to do it down low like this. Get the back out. Now, interestingly enough, the back on these lower control arms, 2 different size bolts, width and diameter and size. So a bunch of different hardware going on back there, but just get those loose, and yeah, we'll swing it out of the way. Set you up a little time lapse to watch me, I don't know, bust some knuckles and pinch some thumbs. Here we go. All right, that's it for today, at least for me. I am tired. Beautiful day outside. I'm gonna try to get home and maybe have a dinner at a decent hour, we'll see. But before I show you the after, because I rolled it outside, shop's empty, rolled it outside, shop's clean-ish. I sweep the floor before I go, but before I show you, take a second, like, subscribe, share this video. Like we're close to 1,000 subscribers. This is like the first big landmark or milestone, if you will. So go ahead and do that for me. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna show you this truck, but let me explain something first. There's two sides to this truck. I don't have all 4 Corvette wheels on it yet. Like I said before, I only have 2 spacers that are just test spacers. So you can't put the wheels on it at all without them. So I only put 2 wheels on the driver's side. So I'm gonna show you the passenger side first, and then we'll walk around. So here you go. This is the passenger side. These are some like 15x7 Steelies my buddy Chaparro at Chaparro's Chop Shop gave me. Just some rollers. And man, I tell you, this thing actually looks really tough. Just like that. Like, I despise white letters, but I don't know, that isn't too bad. We'll work our way around. You notice I got the windshield out. Yeah, I didn't go over that yet. So had a little bit of rust around it. We're cleaning that up, putting a fresh windshield in it. But you can see it's got a big lean to it. And I'm telling you this because I'm not 100% sure that this other side is exactly what it's going to look like. I'm pretty happy with it. So this is the other side. This is the vet wheel side. Like I said, 91-ish ZR1, 17 by 9.5, 275/40 17s. This is a 1.5 inch spacer. It's not quite enough. I think we're gonna have to have a 2.5 to match the rear, which is a 17 by 11 with a 315/35. And you can just see that sits just dead money flush with the outside. That has such a cool look to it. It's not hammered. It's just right, I think. We'll see. I would love for it to be another inch lower, but I gotta crawl up under it. Right as of right now, we don't have to notch anything. I am gonna take and drill the frame rails and put a universal bump stop in it. Just, you know, one of those little shorty polyurethane dudes in the back, since we took the bump stop bracket off. But man, I'm really feeling it. You can see once again the lean, but look at that tire difference. Holy cow. A 315 versus I think a 225, 235. That is huge. Huge difference. And we'll see. I don't know if I can, probably can't see, but it is so close, but it doesn't touch. About 3/16 between the spring. I actually had to trim the ear. So if you look, I bobbed the ear off. It was touching the wheel, cut that off, and the studs are closed, but they're not touching. If I decide to put a 5-inch block or an extra inch block in there, and we'll see, they don't have enough stud. I don't know. We'll see. You can see upwards. I mean, it's got a good bit of travel left. Good bit of travel. I don't know. We'll see. All in all, pretty stoked about this. Okay, complete transparency, I was really excited about this. Found out it had a blowed up motor. It's kind of a shot to the gut. Kind of got me a little down in the dumps about this particular project. But I was discussing it with Andrew today, which played hooky. What a lame. Discussing with him, I was like, man, I don't know. This thing kind of frustrating me already, having laid hands on it. He's like, hey, look, just lower it. You'll probably like it a lot more once you see it down, hunker down a little bit on some wheels. And he was right. I would never tell him that, but he was right. So yeah, there it is. Pretty freaking sweet. So we got the motor came in. We're going to put that in next week sometime, maybe tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Got some pretty cool little bits for the interior to fluff it up a little bit. We'll show you that. We'll make a video out of that. We're gonna do a satin clear coat on it. Door logos. Got my buddy Stevens working on that. We're pretty sweet. So until next time, thanks for sticking around. Like, subscribe. We went over that. You know the deal. Yeah. So tune in next time. See ya.